Today, Baba is reminding us of our fortune. And Baba says that where you are born is a sign of your fortune. Yes, so in the world, when children are born, then according to the karma they have done, according to the fortune they have created through that karma, they receive a birth. Yes, and that's why we have this expression, born with a silver spoon in mouth. Yes, so where we are born is an indicator of our past karma. And according to the law of karma, according to the accumulation of our karmic, credit or debit, we are born into different parents, so or in different circumstances. And you see, it is very similar. I always like this example that just like when you go shopping, you can buy the whole mall, yes, but do you do that? No, you only buy as much as the currency that you have has a limit, and you can buy only that much. Similarly, when the soul leaves a body, it can go anywhere, get born anywhere. But then, according to the karmic credit that the soul is carrying, it will choose, a set of parents or a family or situations which will be, very, very, what do you say? It will be a very calculated thing. So it will be as much as you have sown, as much as the karma you have accumulated. So Baba says being born somewhere is a sign of fortune. And when somebody is born somewhere, then by birth you have a right towards the inheritance. So when a child is born, you say the heir is born. Yes, it's because the child is equal to the heir. The child has a right to the inheritance. And Baba says, where are we born now? To whom have we come, or who has become our father, or who has adopted us, or to whom are we born now? So we are born to the Supreme Father, Supreme Teacher, Sadguru, and to the highest on high. And Baba says that this is a sign of fortune. So sometimes, even Baba's children, they don't have the intoxication of their fortune. Yes, that because I'm born to Baba, because I've come to Baba, I've become Baba's child. So this is proof enough that my fortune is very high. And of course, my karmic journey has been such, sometimes Baba says that you have come to receive the fruit of devotion. So that means I have accumulated so much on the path of devotion also. Or, I have that karmic account that I've come to Baba and I've been born to Baba. Now, Baba says that when you are born to me, that means you have the fortune of the sovereignty of heaven, at your disposal. So you, of course, have that fortune. But just like every child, even if you're born to very wealthy parents, how do you continue to be wealthy? You may receive an inheritance, but then according to the effort you make, you will be able to claim or retain that inheritance. Similarly, Baba says that you being born to me is a sign that the sovereignty of heaven is your birthright. But then you have to claim the inheritance. And Baba says for that, you have to pay attention to two things. First is remembrance of Baba. Yes, so Baba says that you want inheritance from me, so I'm your father. So what is the sign of the relationship between a father and a child? If the child forgets the father, then would you say that the relationship is very good? No. So Baba says that at least stay in my remembrance. That much qualification you should have for claiming the inheritance. And you see, sometimes children say that I am in remembrance of Baba. Yes, but what is the sign of somebody who is in remembrance? Yes, they will do what the person who they remember like. They will remember the directions of the one whom they are remembering. Just like you see, I remember there was this one girl and Kanya, and she shared a very interesting experience. She said that my mother, she keeps the house very spick and span, and she's always, tidying the place, and she's very regular with her puja and everything at home. She would clean the temple, do her puja every day. And she said that I never participated in whatever she did. I never cleaned the temple, I never cleaned the house. But then she was gone to my, uncle's place for some time. And then at that time, as soon as, I was lying on the bed, and as soon as I remembered my mother, I jumped out of bed and started cleaning the floor. And then I cleaned the temple, and then I did the puja, and it felt like some kind of a sin if I'm not doing it. So it's her house, and then it has to be kept the way she keeps it. That thing was there. And she said that this was very interesting. And then because she was in Gyan and she was understanding Gyan and Baba at that time, she said, Didi, from that day I understood that I'm not staying in Baba's remembrance. Because if I'm staying in Baba's remembrance and Baba is awake at Amrit Vela, then I will jump out of bed in Amrit Vela too, understanding that Baba is waiting for me. Or if there is some seva of Baba, I will be, running to that place because I know that Baba is waiting for me. But the sheer fact that I'm not doing it, that means that I say I'm in Baba's remembrance, but I'm not. So you see that Baba says that in order to claim the inheritance from me, you have to be in my remembrance. And when you are in my remembrance, you will reflect the qualities that I have, you will reflect the powers that I have, and you will do the work that I do. You will follow the timetable that I follow. Yes, so you will be like me. So this is one thing. Second thing, Baba says, you have to make effort, just like Mama Baba are making effort to claim the sovereignty of heaven. So you have to follow Mama Baba. And what is the main effort? So Baba says, show everyone the path. Yes, and just like Baba has shown us the path, Baba says, do you know that you are the only children who can show the path to peace and happiness to everyone? Because Baba says, people are going and seeking the path from those who are on the path of isolation. Yes, Nivriti Marg, so those who leave their homes, become ascetics, people are going and seeking the path from them. But Baba says that they don't have the path, they are themselves seeking the path. But you are on the path, you have been shown the path by me, and we can also feel, if you look inside, you feel that, just like Baba gives the example of a boat, that you are sitting on the boat and you have given your command to the boatman, and he's rowing the boat and taking you across. We can also see that every day we are moving closer and closer to our aim of becoming like a deity. So Baba says, you know the path, I have shown you the path, and you are walking on the path. So you are the only ones who can show anyone the path. And do you understand this responsibility? Yes, so many times we don't understand this responsibility. Just look at all the people in the world who are looking for peace, happiness, who are looking for, the path to create their fortune. I remember, there was this one time when I heard a news about somebody, who wanted peace and happiness, and they went looking for it to some sannyasi, and they fell into superstition, and then they ended up killing themselves because of that superstition. And at that time, I don't know what happened in that one incident. I felt like it is such a big responsibility to show everyone the right path. Otherwise, the burden of people who are, just wandering in the search of the path, that burden will accumulates on us. And we have to be very wary of this. So, Baba says that it is your duty to show everyone the path. And when you make this effort, then you will be able to claim a high status, because Baba says that the law is those who give a lot of happiness to everyone now will receive the highest status. And we cannot give anyone happiness, but we can show the path to peace and happiness to those who are seeking it, just like Baba showed it to us. And today, Baba also tells us something very interesting in this connection. Baba says, earlier you used to call out to me and say that you are the merciful one and have mercy. Yes, and do you remember that so many times we have also, what do you say? We've kind of been like, Baba, why don't you have mercy when you can? So, we always, kind of tell Baba that it's your job to be merciful. And why are you not being merciful? Do you remember you've done that? And we say, Baba, you're called the merciful one, and it's your duty to have mercy. And why are you not having mercy on me? And Baba says, now I tell you, you are the merciful one. Yes, so earlier when it was your time to seek mercy, you were very adamant and you said, it's your job and you have to be merciful to me. Now Baba says, I have shown you my mercy. I have shown you the path. But now it's your time to be merciful to everyone. And you have to understand that everybody who is waiting for peace and happiness is waiting for your mercy. They are waiting for you to show the path. So you better understand your responsibility and fulfill it. And when you do that, Baba says you will claim a high status in the world of heaven. So this is one thing that Baba says. Baba says, stay in the intoxication of your fortune, your duty, your responsibility. And then Baba today tells us the meaning of dying alive. So many a times we hear in the Murli this word dying alive. And what is dying alive? So today Baba gives a very clear meaning to it. Baba says, when you consider yourself to be separate from the body, that's like dying alive. Yes. And Baba says, just like, have you seen that this whole world is related to the body that we take? Yes, the relationships that we call mine are bodily relationships. Yes, whatever attainments, whatever ego you have is related to the body. Because once somebody leaves the body, then no relationship with anyone, anything. Yes, will you even look back when you leave the body? Those very people who you say, these are mine, 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 you don't even take a second to look back at them. So Baba says that these are relationships of the body. These are attainments of the body. All the friends, relatives, everything belongs to the body. And Baba says, when you consider yourself to be separate from the body, then it takes a second to detach from the body, the bodily relations, bodily religion, bodily needs, bodily world, bodily attainments, bodily acquisitions, ego. Everything is associated with the body. Yes, even this, this needs of the body, like, hunger pulling you, or thirst pulling you. Baba says all these indriyas, or the senses pulling you, is also about the body. So when you consider yourself to be separate from the body, then you are like free from the pulse of everything associated with the body. And it takes just 1 second of awareness. Just consider that, all this body is separate, and everything associated with this body is separate. And I will give you a very beautiful practice that I do. So I imagine a room which has a lot of pegs, on the wall, and I hang every aspect of the body on one peg at a time. The bodily relations, religion, the body, the ego associated with the body, the senses of the body. And then what is left is just me. Yes. And slowly, gradually, when you free yourself from all these aspects of the body, then Baba says, then you are like you've died alive. And just visualize when a person dies, then what happens? Suddenly, all the soul is free. And when the soul dies, have you heard many people share their near death experiences? And in those near death experiences, they always share that when they felt that they are dead, or they experienced the stage of death, then they felt very close to God, and they could feel God. Yes, so that is the experience that people who go through near death experiences share. And Baba says the soul has an eternal, natural, very organic relationship with Baba. But because we are trapped in this consciousness of the body, we are not able to feel it all the time. But once you practice this dying alive, then you can feel that you're always combined with Baba. Baba and you are like very close to each other. And you don't have to make an effort for that. Just like, people say that it is not learning, it's unlearning that you have to do. Similarly, we don't have to make the effort to remember. The first effort is to detach. And that is why when Baba talks about Raj Yoga, Baba always says that the first step is soul consciousness. Because when the soul is detached from the pulse of the body, then the soul has the heart of the soul is connected to Baba's heart. There is an eternal relationship, and that relationship will pull you. But the first step is dying alive. So just like, when the soul leaves the body, it feels very close to Baba, although it doesn't go back to Baba because it has to, again go and settle the karmic accounts, but it feels very close to Baba at that time. So Baba says similarly, practice dying alive so that you can be in natural remembrance of me. And Baba also today says something which is like a direction. And Baba says that even if somebody is ill, and if that Brahmin is a firm yogi, you do not think that they leaving the body is a good idea. Yes, because even when yogis, when firm yogis, even when they are physically ill, if they have practiced being detached from the body, then in that state of physical illness also, they are remembering Baba. They have the ability to remember Baba and serve the world. Yes, so Baba says that you do not. So it is not a good idea that if a Brahmin or a firm yogi is, very physically ill, then they should die. So that's not a good idea. And I remember, there was this one sister in a center, and she was very ill. but she was a very good yogi, and she stayed in that center for, a good like 4 5 years in that illness, and she could mostly not contribute anything physically to the center. So she couldn't even get up, she had to be fed and everything. But there was something that everybody was receiving from her. And it felt like, everybody wanted her to be. So nobody was, and Baba usually uses this word, tang ho jana. So, when you get very frustrated with illness, sometimes when people are physically ill, they get frustrated with their body. But nobody was frustrated with her. She was also not frustrated with herself, and everybody loved to serve her. And let me tell you, it's not an easy thing to serve somebody who is ill, because, in these days we see that even in Lokik family, if the parents are ill, also children give up on them. Or, the spouse is ill, the spouse gives up on them. So we have seen these incidents. But in her case, I saw that everybody wanted her to live, and there was some sense of contribution that she was making. And when she left the body, when that soul left the body, I was there and I saw that the vibration of the center changed. There was a sudden, it felt like everybody's there, but then there's some lowering of energy in the center. And you could feel that absence. And in that one incident, I felt that, Baba says that you are a being, and we hear that, but more often than not, we don't understand what the contribution of the being is. We always understand the contribution of the doing and creating, and the body, wealth. We understand these contributions, but the being is so powerful. And if you are a firm yogi, even if you are, through your karm bhog, you are settling your karmic accounts in the end time, you're still accumulating a lot through Baba's remembrance and through the service you're doing. Because when you are in Baba's remembrance, then the vibrations you're spreading, those vibrations are also bringing souls closer and serving them with peace and love and joy. And Baba says that this is why when firm yogis are sick, we don't think that, they are in pain and they should leave the body, or, sometimes people think that is compassion. So these days, there's a lot of debate about these things, and what is the form of compassion? Is the form of compassion wishing that somebody should continue, or is the form of compassion that, you understand that that soul is in pain and that soul should get free from the body? But Baba says, okay, for the worldly matters, maybe you could say that they are in pain and they are in so much negativity and suffering because of the pain, so they may be released. But in case of firm yogis, the Shrimat is that they should live as long as they can, and in that condition they are also serving the world. So this is what Baba says today. And then Baba today talks about the function of the intellect. And Baba says, in this spiritual path, the intellect has all the role to play. So everything has to be done through the intellect. And you see, the intellect, the food of the intellect is knowledge. Yes, that is why knowledge is very important, because you see, the intellect absorbs knowledge, and the intellect is the one that travels. So all the yoga that we have is done through the intellect. But on the basis of what? On the basis of the knowledge that we receive. So Baba today gives us a very good example. Baba says that when somebody sees the picture of an elephant and then that one is explained the qualities of the elephant, then the intellect is able to associate the qualities and the image and then understand the elephant. Yes, so Baba says similarly, Baba makes us understand the three worlds. Baba makes us understand what the golden age is like. Baba makes us understand what the soul is like. Baba makes us understand what Baba is like. And with that understanding, you can experience, or you can have yoga, or you can have a connection with whatever you understand. So how can you experience the soul better? By understanding it better. So sometimes children have this question that why am I not able to experience something? Yes, experience a stage or experience the soul or Baba or the soul world. So the clear answer for that is understand what Baba talks about it. We cannot experience without understanding. Just like you see, these days we are able to experience the fear of the future also. Yes, because we are feeding ourselves with so much of information about what can go wrong in the future that we are able to experience the fear of the future. So Baba says, in order to experience the lightness or the happiness or the bliss or the peace of whatever Baba gives us, so in order to experience the peace of the soul world, or the peace of the ocean of peace, or the joy of the world of happiness, you have to understand that world more and more. And the more you start understanding, and Baba's Murlis explain to us everything. And so many of Baba's children have done so much work to even take out excerpts from Baba's Murlis and compile them about what Baba says about the angelic world or the soul world, or what Baba says about his form as a compassion, as the benefactor one, or his form as the father or the teacher. So Baba says that whatever you feed in your intellect, that will be the basis of your experience, your yoga with the different worlds, with the different aspects of time, with Baba. So Baba says that's why use your intellect and understand that the intellect feeds on the food of knowledge. Yes, and also be very wary of what you're feeding it with otherwise. If you're not feeding your intellect with knowledge, then what are you feeding it with? Because whatever you're feeding it with will become your experience. So Baba says the intellect and the role and function of the intellect has to be understood very well. And then today, Baba also talks about sins. And Baba today says that when we don't have yoga, we make mistakes. Yes, so if my Buddhi Yoga is not, in with Baba, then it is wandering. And anywhere that my intellect is connected, that will have an effect on me. Yes, so just like if I'm in Baba's remembrance, I will perform accurate actions. Yes, you know this law, Yog Yukt, so Yukti Yukt. So when you are in Baba's remembrance, you perform accurate actions. But Baba says that when we are not in Baba's remembrance, then we have yoga with people, places, things, and everything of this world is impure. And then that impurity has an effect on the intellect. And then you make bad decisions and you perform wrong actions. And then what happens is, when you keep, so what is the Srimad that Baba gives for when we make a mistake? So the Srimad is, you realize it and you tell it to Baba, you share it with Baba. And when you share it with Baba, then you receive the understanding and the power to correct it. Yes, but most children, they A, don't pay attention to remembering Baba. B, when they make mistakes, they are not honest about it. Because we live in a world where we are taught, don't be good, look good. Yes, so we feel that I making a mistake is not a big deal, but somebody getting to know that I made a mistake is a big deal. So that's why we tend to hide our mistakes. Do you see that the dictates of Ravan are the complete opposite of the dictates of Baba? So Ravan has told us that whenever you make a mistake, hide it. Have you seen that when small children also make mistakes, they look here and there? Did anybody watch? And if nobody watched, then they just hide it. So this is a sanskar that we create. And Baba says that when you don't remember me and you make mistakes and then you don't share it with me, don't write it down and give it through the nimit to me, then what happens is those mistakes multiply. And then what happens? You reach a stage where you become disheartened with yourself. Yes, and then when you become disheartened with yourself, then what happens is, then we say words like, it's better I sit at home, it's better I don't come to class. Yes, anyways, I'm not able to do anything good. Anyways, I'm not able to follow Shrimat. So better I sit at home. Why am I wasting Baba's time and Baba's, effort? So these are the words you speak when you get disheartened with yourself. But the thing is, why do you get so disheartened? Because you don't own up your mistakes. You don't want to correct them. And I've seen that, I've seen many souls in very close, in the family and when we work together. I've seen that if a soul is making mistakes, then that soul is okay making mistakes as long as those mistakes are not revealed. Yes, but when those mistakes are revealed, then instead of taking correction, what they do is they start feeling insult. And then they start feeling, that feeling of insult and guilt. Why did I make a mistake? Why did I make a mistake? That's coming from a place of feeling insulted. And then they lose heart. Yes, they get disheartened with themselves and then they speak, it's better, I'm not doing any justice to Baba's path anyway, so let me leave the path. But Baba says that this is not the method. So the first priority that we have to give to is remembering Baba. If I remember Baba, I will make less mistakes. And if I make a mistake, let's say I also didn't tell anybody, but somebody found out, then also I have to take correction and become better. So, even if, and I've seen, in Baba's work and Baba's, the structure, even if you hide your mistakes, those mistakes will be revealed. Yes, so when either you share it with Baba or when they are revealed, even if you're not sharing it, if it is revealed also, you have to have a lot of courage to improve, not to get disheartened. Because nobody can keep making mistakes and go to Satyug. So there has to be a point where you face what you're doing and correct it. Otherwise, slowly, gradually, we become disheartened and we, lose ourselves. So this is also a word of caution that Baba is giving us. Okay, Om Shanti.